Sometimes the most profound ideas, the ones that explain almost everything, aren't hiding in some dense, dusty textbook. Sometimes they're hidden in plain sight, in the most minimalist things you can imagine. Today, we're going to decode a text that might just be a framework for, well, pretty much everything. Let's dive in.
So, this is it. This is our source text. Now, at first glance, it looks like a mistake, right? Maybe a fragment of something or just an error in the data. But what if it's not? What if this is a complete thought, a perfectly coded message? Let's assume it is and see what it's trying to tell us. So we're not going to treat this as some random string of words. We're going to look at it as a super distilled piece of wisdom, a kind of code that holds two fundamental and totally opposite principles that govern just about any complex system. And the way these two ideas play off each other, well, that's where the real magic happens.
Everything in this text, and honestly, everything we're about to talk about, really just boils down to two core concepts. If you can get a handle on these two ideas, you unlock this incredibly powerful framework for navigating what is, let's face it, a pretty unpredictable world.
Okay, let's start with the first principle. It's the one that jumps right out at you, the word that shows up again and again and again, foreign. Now that repetition, that's not an accident. It's our first big clue about how important this idea is.
So what does foreign actually represent in this whole philosophy? Well, it's the unknown. Simple as that. It stands for all the unpredictable stuff, the variables you can't see coming, the external forces that are just completely outside of your immediate control.
And once you start thinking this way, you see the foreign absolutely everywhere. It's the total chaos of the stock market. It's the nonstop noise of information online. It's that unexpected competitor that pops up out of nowhere. It's all the risks that are baked into any system, any plan you make. It's everything you just can't perfectly predict.
And that constant repetition in our source text, that is totally on purpose. It's hammering home the point that the foreign is vast, it's constant, and it can feel completely overwhelming. It's all around us, just like it surrounds that other, single word in our text.
And that brings us from the chaos to the solution. Tucked away in the middle of all that overwhelming foreign is our second and absolutely crucial principle. It only appears once, and that's what makes it so powerful. The principle of a margin.
Let's be really clear about what we mean by this. A margin is a buffer, yeah? But it's a deliberate one. It is the space you intentionally create to absorb shocks, to allow for mistakes, and to shield yourself from all that unpredictable foreign stuff. It's your zone of control. Think of the margin as your strategic reserve. It could be a reserve of time, of money, of energy. It's the safety net in your big project, the emergency fund in your bank account. It's the one thing you can control that gives you the strength to deal with all the things you can't. It's your anchor in the storm.
Okay, so now we bring it all together, because this isn't about choosing one or the other. No way. The real genius of this whole idea is in the relationship between the foreign and the margin. And when you see how they connect, that's when the whole theory just clicks into place.
And you can see it laid out right here. On one side, you have the foreign, all that external chaos, the risk, the unknown. And on the other, you have a margin, your internal space for safety, for order, for control. Life really is just a constant negotiation between these two forces.
And here is the single most important point. You can never, ever eliminate the foreign. You just can't. You can't predict every risk. You can't control every single thing. So the real path to success, to being resilient, it's about stopping the fight against the chaos and instead focusing all your energy on building and mastering your margin.
And that right there is why we can call this a theory of everything. Because this framework doesn't just apply to one little niche area of your life. It is a universal principle for making decisions in almost any complex situation you could possibly imagine.
And what's so great is that this isn't just some abstract philosophy to kick around. It's a practical, actionable method. It gives you a way to think, and more importantly, a way to act when you're staring down uncertainty, which, let's be real, is most of the time.
So here's how you do it. It's a pretty simple three-step process. Step 1, in any situation, identify the foreign. What are the unknowns? What are the risks you can't control? Step 2, define your margin. What's your buffer? What extra time or resources or flexibility can you build in? And then, step 3, you act. But you act with confidence because you know you're prepared for the unpredictable. And just look how widely this applies. In financial investing, your margin is having cash reserves and a diverse portfolio. In career planning, it's learning new skills so you're always valuable. Project management?
It's that buffer time you always build into your deadlines. Heck, even in your personal life, your margin might just be getting enough sleep so you can handle a stressful day.
So we'll end on this. Our world is defined by a constant, overwhelming flood of the foreign. Information, chaos, uncertainty, it never stops. The key isn't to try and know everything, but to protect your ability to think clearly and act effectively. So the real question this ancient little text leaves us with is this: in a world full of foreign, where are you going to find your margin?